Greatest Showman. It's the story of a guy named P.T. Barnum. If you grew up before the circus went away or got unpopular, you may have heard of Barnum and Bailey Circus, the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. The movie, The Greatest Showman, is actually about P.T. Barnum. It tells the story of kind of who he is, how all that kind of thing, and it kind of just tell you that, yeah, there's lots of music, but there's some themes throughout that movie as he tries to solve the life equation. Man, and you might not know the movie, and you might not, know the story, but there's some things that he goes through that will be very, very familiar to you. Questions about worth, questions about value, questions about how hard do I push, the moments where we lose ourselves trying to run after the things, the moment where life gets out of balance, the moments where we fail, the moments where we think we're going to head one way and life kind of goes another. And the question is, as we look at things like validation and identity and all those things, the question that starts to flesh ourselves out in this movie is, where do we look for those things? Where do we find it? What is the lens? And if I could give you a lens to kind of evaluate the rest of this movie, because we do need to evaluate the ideas. I mean, cool movie. We're going to watch a little bit of it and watch quite a bit of it, actually. But we have to, how do I analyze this? Jesus, as he's walking around, he looks at his disciples, John chapter 10 tells us, and he looks at them and he says, listen, the thief's purpose is to steal, to kill, and to destroy. But my purpose, Jesus said, is to give them a rich and satisfying life. And as we look at what happens in P.T. Barnum's life, and as you take a minute, as we all do, because I'm baiting you to do it, as you look at your life and see there's things in my life that steal and kill and destroy what I'm supposed to become. But there's other things in our life, especially as we leverage in and lean toward Jesus, that bring you a rich and satisfying life. And so as we go through this, admittedly, there's some good songs. I mean, I guarantee there's some songs in there that you didn't even know were from this movie. And you're like, oh, so there's good songs, but there's a great story that's going on, and one that is very, very easy for us to see our lives in. So we got to kind of take a step back from the trailer. We kind of got to start at the beginning, because P.T., he's a boy. When he starts out, he's a boy from a broken home who came from abject poverty. He becomes an orphan, and he lives on the streets. And he meets a girl. And this is the beginning of what it means for P.T. to become the greatest showman. Play that first clip for me.
I close my eyes and I can see a world that's waiting up for me, that I call my own. Through the dark, through the door, through where no one's been before, but it feels like home. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say I've lost my mind. I don't care, so call me crazy. We can live in a world that we design. 'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say we've lost our minds. I don't care if they call us crazy. Run away to a world that we design. 'Cause every night I lie in bed,
stories from around the world.
A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. Oh, a million dreams for the world we're gonna make.
Come join the great American Railroad. 3 meals a day, roof over your head, fair and ample wages. Come, make your fortune. See the open plains of America. Opportunity awaits you, sir, out on the rails.
Sir, I know I don't come for much, but I will take care of your daughter and I will give her life as grand as this one.
So for those of you who are under the age of 18, those paper things, those are called letters. We used to send those before we were texting and emails. No, obviously from a slightly different era. But I wonder if when you look at that, you kind of, maybe your life didn't start out that way. Maybe you have a different set of stories, a different set of circumstances, a different narrative. You started out kind of rough. You have pieces of your story, if we're honest, that all start out a little rough. And I wonder if as we dig into those, whether, maybe your thing was addiction was in there. Maybe, like me, divorce was a part of your story. Maybe there's some pieces of abuse was in there. Maybe there was neglect in there. Maybe there was mistakes you made along the way that if you could just go back and undo that one thing. And I just wonder if no matter how things looked back then, there is a truth that you can see right there that he had to make some decisions as he's looking and watching. He nailed down and he kind of came to rest on one key truth that if we could laser in on this for that moment, it's essentially this. You do not have to have a great start to have a great finish. That is one thing that is weaved throughout this entire thing, that what your past does not have to define you. And you're like, well, wait a minute, okay, that's cool, and that's a great thing to go put on X, great motivational thing to throw up on your wall. That's a good idea, but is it a God idea? Zechariah, when he's writing Zechariah chapter 4, verse 10, he says this, he says, do not despise these small beginnings, for the Lord rejoices to see the work begin, to see the plumb line in Zerubbabel's hand. I've read that 100 times, and as I was reading it again and reflecting on this, did you see what it said? Put it back up there for me real quick. Did you see what it said? The Lord rejoices to see the work begin. We tend to think, oh, God's only going to be happy when it's over. He doesn't smile at me. No, he rejoices in seeing you start. When you look at the thing and you're like, okay, here's where I'm at. I'm not gonna camp here. I'm going to continue to move. And I understand that no matter what my starting place is, I can have a great finish. I'm just going to get started. God's like, yes, let's go. He does not evaluate things the same way we do. We look at it and you go, I mean, honestly, maybe you walk in the place for the first time and you're like, dude, there's only like 20 people in here. Dude, I'm started. The team here is started. Come run with us. You wouldn't believe where we were 2 years ago. It's like, really? Yeah, come on, we're running. Let's go. Because God cheers us on when we move. And Phineas, P.T. Barnum, whichever we want to call him, he realized somewhere along the way that he had a choice. Now, the choices didn't always take him to the end spot, but the choices he realized he had to make over and over and over. And sometimes, even as he started running, things didn't go his way. Check out clip 2.
Yes, I see it. Thank you, Chalmers. That'll do.
Sir.
Phineas Taylor Barnum. If I may, sir, I believe I have skills and ideas that go well beyond punching numbers into an adding machine. Well, I've read about this German fellow, Lilienthal, I believe, who's developed a glider that could take a man in the air, sir. Isn't that amazing? I mean, if you were to apply that to this business, it would be revolutionary.
Gentlemen, can I have your attention? You're all dismissed.
Bankrupt. I thought the company had a dozen trading ships.
Yes, at the bottom of the South China Sea. Typhoon sank them all.
You're in for it.
Hey,
Oh, God. You're home early.
and until further notice.
Well, I didn't think you were long for that job.
Or any job, apparently.
That's what makes our life together so exciting.
Charity. This isn't the life I promised you.
But I have everything I want.
What about the magic?
What do you call those two girls? Hey, you partners, look who moseyed into the corral.
What are you doing?
Come here.
Did you bring a present?
Present for what?
For my birthday.
Your what?
My birthday.
It's not your birthday. Okay. I do have a present. But not just any present. Oh, no. The most amazing birthday present ever. This extraordinary machine was originally created by Leonardo da Vinci 400 years ago. But the blueprints have been lost for centuries until just last week on a stormy night when a sunken pirate ship washed up on the shores of Nantucket. They found skeletons and treasures, and the blueprints were recovered by none other than J.W. Mercantile. The blueprints crossed my desk very briefly, but I managed to commit them to memory, and if I have remembered correctly, happy birthday, Caroline. This is a wishing machine. You tell it your wishes, and it keeps them safe until they come true, even if you forget them. They're always there.
Can I tell a wish?
Step right up. Go ahead.
To marry Santa Claus.
That is a good wish.
I wish for ballet slippers.
Hey, that's a good wish, too.
What's your wish, Mommy?
I wish... for happiness like this forever. For you, and you, and for your father. Since when has happiness ever been more?
Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me away. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take.
A million dreams for the world we're gonna make.
Ladies, I've got an idea. So this scene gets me as a person, as a human, as a husband, as a father. I mean, which theme do we want to pick up on right there? Hey, this isn't the life I promised you. What gets me, though, and is kind of a foreshadowing moment, is you see the dreams of children to marry Santa Claus, or ballet slippers. Then you've got the desperate hopes of a father. And then right in the middle, Charity, the mother, says, I wish for happiness like this for always. And at the end of the day, I think all of us, when everything goes away, we just want to be happy and fulfilled and all that. And the irony of it is sitting outside the movie as kind of the third party watching, it is so blatantly easy to see. We want it, we all know. But when you are in it, when PT's sitting in it, when you are sitting in your moment, it is almost impossible to see your heart starting to sway. Because you're like, I gotta go with this, I gotta go with that. And things get weird. And what's crazy is this moment, the purity of it, the happiness of it, P.T. Barnum winds up chasing the ideas there for the rest of his life. It starts to consume him. He starts to lose his way a little bit. And you're like, okay, Pastor, enough foreshadowing. What happens next? Okay, I get it. Things pivot here. Things start to go. And growing up, it pivots on this idea that is absolutely true. And that idea is this truth that P.T. Barnum kind of locks in on is you can blame your situation or you can change your situation, but you can't do both. You can look at it and go, man, all this stuff is happening to me because of that, and you're stuck in it. Or you can go, man, this is happening and here's what I can do, and you start to move. And it's important that you see that because you look at that and we go, okay, Pastor, that's awesome. And again, is that a movie idea or a God idea? Listen, Paul, when he writes to the church in Galatia, he writes like this. He says, listen, we are each responsible for our own conduct. There are things that, you can't, a lot of times, I'll start to say 9 times out of 10, and that would be just a made-up statistic, which, by the way, you do know 90% of statistics are made up on the spot, like this one. But how many times do we have to look at this and go, listen, is this a good idea or a God idea? Almost the majority of your life. I started to give you another made-up statistic. How about this? A lot of stuff in your life happens to you. It just happens. What you have control over is your response to it. And so as PT sits in this, stuff starts to happen. He gets laid off. A whole bunch of other things happen. And as he looks at it, he goes, okay, ladies, I've got an idea. And he begins to try to start to build. And as he's building, we see some very good things that come. We see some very bad things that come out of it. And some things begin to happen that his heart, and I want you to take a look at his heart. And as he speaks, he starts to pivot and he begins to change the world around him based on what is happening inside of him. He goes and starts to build the circus. Check this out.
You must be Gertrude Stratton. I'm looking for your son.
I don't have a son.
The hospital record says you do. Charles, right? Age 22?
Charles. Charles.
P.T. Barnum, at your service. I am putting together a show, and I need a star.
You want people to laugh at me?
Well, they're laughing anyway, kids, so might as well get paid. I see a soldier, no, a general, riding across the stage with a sword and a gun and the most beautiful uniform ever made. People will come from all over the world, and when they see him, they won't laugh. They'll salute. How's it looking, girls?
Hey, you looking for freaks? I know where you can find one of them.
Really?
Come on, girls.
Sir, you shouldn't be here.
I'm sorry. Who's doing this singing? It's you, isn't it?
Sir, I have to ask you to leave.
You are so talented, blessed. Extraordinary. Unique. I would even say beautiful.
Sir, please leave me alone.
They don't understand, but they will.
So it's interesting when you look at those two things. There's something a little off in PT. Especially when he looks at little Charles and goes, well, they're laughing. You may as well make a buck off of it. And immediately he pivots and he starts to speak something different. And I wonder if what we have to laser in on for just a second is what's going on in P.T. Barnum and the way he's speaking. It's more about what's happening inside of him and his view on the world than it is on the people that he's trying to gather. Because when P.T. gets started, did you see the look in Charles's eyes? When he said, listen, they're laughing. You may as well earn a buck off of it. Did you watch what happened? I mean, we can talk all day if we want about the power of our words, the way we lean in, how they can bring life and death. And when he pivots and he sees the woman who would become known as the bearded lady, which, by the way, if you didn't know, this story is marginally true. They've taken some artistic liberties, but the recruiting of these people, these are real people, and he did say things like that to try to build them in. And I wonder if the thing that we have to see first off in those conversations is the desperation in these two people who were way on the fringes, who'd been rejected, who'd been looked at, been judged, who had been kind of cast aside by society, and realized that there are actually really safe ways to take a look at ourselves. Because, we can kind of look and kind of remain distant because maybe we don't have their same physical challenges. But like them, here's a truth you got to nail. Like them, we all pursue recognition. And we all want to be valued. And he's kind of leaning into that. The problem with PT's perspective is he tends to think that if you give people what they want, then they will value you. And you don't have to live very long to know that that's the fastest way to get taken advantage of and devalued if all you are about is giving people what they want. Where you find value comes from the way you identify yourself, the way you see yourself. It is why, believe it or not, when Solomon wrote Proverbs, he said this, and this is actually kind of a life verse for me: guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. Our hearts, what's going on inside of us, our perspective on ourselves, impacts everything. Your view of yourself, the way you see the world, impacts every relationship you have, every job you walk into, every moment, even the way you interpret this movie is largely based on the way you see and understand yourself. And when he leans into I need to help you see yourself right, he takes a little man and turns him into a general, just by reorienting the way he understood and saw himself. And while he starts to inspire the people around him to be a different voice speaking to them, PT still hears the voices inside of him that have spoke things over him. The voice of his father, the voice of Charity's father, the voice of his past, the voice of his wounds, the voices of his insecurities. And PT's flawed view of himself causes him to start chasing after all kinds of things. He rises to levels of success that you and I would go, holy cow. He travels the world, winds up meeting the Queen of England In fact, check out what happens right after he gets to where it's like, this is amazing. And right after that, it doesn't quite seem to be enough. Check this out.
Your Majesty,
Go.
Miss Jenny Lind.
Who's that?
The opera singer?
Singer, huh?
She's the most famous performer in all of Europe. She's sold out La Scala a dozen times. Not to mention the French opera. What are you doing?
Following you so you can introduce me to Miss Lind.
Introduce you? Yeah. I don't know her.
Everybody knows. You just said so yourself.
Yeah, exactly. You don't just march up to somebody
I know.
like this.
We're personable. She's a person.
Miss Lind, my name is Philip Carlisle. And this extraordinary gentleman next to me.
Phineas Taylor Barnum. The pleasure's mine.
Of course, you are the American. I believe I might have heard of you.
Oh, well, if you've heard of me all the way over here, I must be doing something right.
That was something very wrong.
Oh, well, in the world of publicity, there's hardly a difference.
I believe those are the words of a scoundrel, Mr. Barnum.
A showman, Miss Lind, just a showman, the best on my side of the Atlantic.
If you do say so yourself.
I do, but I don't have to.
Oh, no, he is one of the best.
That's very kind of you. Miss Lind, let me get to the point. I'd like to bring you to New York. And if you agree, I'll make you the most famous singer not in Europe, but in the entire world.
And have you heard me sing?
Absolutely.
No, I haven't. But like mine, your reputation precedes you, and, well, I trust your reputation more than my own taste, so...
I've never been to America.
You will sing in the grandest theater with the finest orchestra in the greatest city on earth. Jenny Lind. One night only, or maybe two. And at 20% of the gate, it'll be a Queen's ransom for your efforts.
I give most of my earnings to charity, Mr. Barnum, to orphans and widows.
Voice of a nightingale, heart of an angel.
That's brilliant. I mean, the press will go crazy for that story.
That's not a story. May I ask you something, Mr. Barnum?
Anything?
Why me?
People come to my show for the pleasure of being hoodwinked. Just once, I'd love to give them something real.
Miss Lind.
Everyone is here. Look at this. Even the Winthrops.
Are you happy?
I will be if this works. Oh, God, I hope she can sing.
Oh, God, I hope she can sing. But did you hear Charity's question? Are you happy? Well, I will be if this works. Except, do you realize what he has already accomplished? He has already, he's amassed a fortune. His name, she knew on the other side of it. And this isn't like, days of the internet. This is telegram era. And she had heard of it. What he had already, and he's like, well, and I wonder if as we're looking at this, if there's something else that actually rests inside each one of us. That there's this man, well, you might have heard said the grass is always greener, or there's something more, the next thing, whatever. There's actually something that starts to happen between the two of them. He leaves his family. He goes on tour with her. He betrays the circus tribe, who we haven't really been able to get down into but what happens with Charles and with the bearded lady and this other massive troop of people that he gathers. They become the circus. And it is amazing. They are known all over the world, as you're starting to hear. In fact, what you didn't see there is the Queen of England summons the circus to her. And he leaves all that behind, betrays them, and leaves them to chase what appears to be a little more lucrative. what appears to be a little bit more famous. And as he travels, he goes on to her. And I wonder if we need to just understand that there is a longing inside each of us, and not be ignorant of it and not be shy of it, but we have a longing for fulfillment. We do. The challenge is we try to satisfy that longing for infinite fulfillment with very, very short-sighted opportunities. Jenny, as things start to unravel, her song becomes, as she starts to sing, is Never Enough. You probably heard this song. If you listened to the radio at all in the late 20-teens, the lyrics are like this: all the shine of 1,000 spotlights, all the stars that we steal from the night sky will never be enough. Never be enough. Towers of gold are still too little. These hands could hold the world, but it'll never be enough. And as the tour goes on, PT starts to realize all of this. And while they don't actually go all the way into an affair, he starts to realize there's some problems brewing. He starts to understand that when Jesus spoke in Matthew chapter 16 and he says, what would you benefit if you gain the whole world but lose your own soul? Is anything worth more than your soul? PT starts to realize there's some things unraveling in me. And so he gets on the train. He tells her, Jenny, listen, go finish the tour. I'm out of here. I got to go back. And what happens is after they have this conversation, and as he starts to realize, there's things happening, he starts to realize, like you and me have to realize, that there are some things that matter. People matter. Today matters. Eternity matters. And as he walks up to her and he says, hey, finish the tour, he goes to one last show with her and comes out to essentially bid her farewell on her tour. And in front of the world, on the biggest stage imaginable, she grabs him, wraps him in her arms, and kisses and she kisses him in front of the world. And he, in shock, kind of steps back and it's like, what was that? And he gets on the train, goes home, and finds his children and his wife waiting on him at the train station, and is trying to walk out of that moment. But as that is all going on, he realizes that not only have things melted down on tour, there's been some massive issues at the circus. And we catch up with P.T. Barnum in this clip right as he steps off, runs into the arms of his children, and realizes, oh my goodness, there's some massive problems. Watch this clip.
Oh, girls. Oh, you've gone so much. Stop it.
Oh, what made you decide to come back early?
I missed you.
That sounds an awful lot like humbug.
Hurry! It's coming from the circus! Run! Fire!
Girls, stay with me.
Everyone, stay close!
Is everyone out? Is everyone okay? Yeah. The animals.
Okay, we set them free. What else do we do? WD, where's Ann?
Where's Ann? No! Hey, stop!
Need to win there!
Here she is! He's taking a lot of smoke. He's still breathing. Come on. Let's get him on.
and I hope you'll rebuild.
Thank God for Jenny's tour. We can bar off the profits. We'll be fine.
You don't know. I'm sorry.
Charity? Oh, God, Charity.
I don't want to talk to you.
Nothing happened. This is ridiculous.
Nothing happened. It's on the cover of every paper in New York.
Because she orchestrated the photo. I'm not in love with her.
Of course you're not. Not with her, not with me, not with anyone. Just you and your show.
What are you doing?
I'm going home.
This is your home.
The bank. They're evicting us. Why didn't you ask me before? I would have said yes. I never minded the risk, but we always did it together.
Never minded the risk, but we always did it together. Can I just tell you one of the things I value most? And I'm just going to brag on somebody real quick. This journey of this church, one of the things I value most about Carrie is that we are in this together. And if I could pray any blessing over you, that you would find someone who looks at you high, low, the peak of success, or anything, that you are in this together. In that, though, as he walks out of this, PT has hurt the woman he loves. He's betrayed those who've trusted him. His greatest achievement literally lies in ashes. The fame that he worked so hard for has now turned to shame and ridicule and the Barnum scandal, which was Barnum's success. And if we were doing this as a kids movie, which, by the way, next Sunday, if you have kids, the kids are going to not be in the kids' space. They're going to be in here. We have actually reached out to the Dr. Seuss Foundation to try to do some fun things. Next week, we'll see if it all works out. But we are going to dive in to a Seussical, if you will, not a musical, but a Seuss thing. We're going to dive in and kind of look at something. But if we were to take another kids' movie, you might have heard the song "Tale as Old as Time," song as old as rhyme. This is a tale as old as time, what is going on in PT's life. It is probably a tale that in some way, shape, or form resonates in you. And as we look at that, we're like, man, what on earth? Can I just tell you, grab this truth. We are all flawed, and we all fail. One of the biggest lies that will paralyze you is if you go, it's only me. I'm the only one. And that thing, it is why it is so important that we get around other people, because in the face of that lie, we need to be able to look at and express the truth of Ecclesiastes that there is nothing new under the sun. To look at and express the truth to one another, like when Paul writes in 1 Corinthians, there is no temptation that has seized you except what is common to man. You are not alone in your failures. You are not alone in your weaknesses. You are not alone in your brokenness. The question is, what do we do with them? And you're like, okay, that's kind of cool. Well, let me give you just one more, just cool little scriptural nugget for you. If you didn't know, Paul, when he writes to the church at Rome, in Romans 3:23, he says this: everyone has sinned and falls short of God's glorious standard. It's not just you. It is not just you. We all fail. And as we wrestle with that, my question to you is, will you let it paralyze you? Will you let the fact that you are broken and not perfect paralyze you? Or will you let it do something else? Will you let something else happen? Because in the face of this failure, we're going to watch one more clip, and it's kind of the apex of the movie. Because PT has to look at this and go, ah. And he's brought to a crisis moment, and he looks at it and he makes a decision. Let's watch this last clip, and we'll wrap it up.
I drank champagne with kings and queens. The politicians praised my name. But those were someone else's dreams, the pitfalls of the man I became. For years and years, I chased their cheers, a crazy speed of always needing more. But when I stop and see you here, I remember who all this was for. And from now on, these eyes will not be blinded by the lights. From now on, what's waited till tomorrow starts tonight. It starts tonight. Where the years promised in me start, I can't find in my heart. From now on, from now I brought hardship on you and our family. You warned me, and I wouldn't listen. I wanted to be more than I was.
I never wanted anything but the man I fell in love with.
Let this promise in me start like an anthem in my heart.
However big, however small,
From now on. From now on.
To kind of land the plane a little bit, it strikes me that it's easy to look at that and kind of poo-poo it. Like, oh, such a nice little bow. Isn't it nice? It all worked out happily, and they all lived happily ever after. Only after his friends and his employees confronted him. Only after his wife left him. Only after his father-in-law gloated with a smug grin at his face. Only after he decided, and he makes this grand statement, from now on. And the truth of the matter is, our future is determined by how we face and deal with our failure. Stepping into your destiny, the calling of God on your life, is determined by how you deal with that reality. And can I tell you, there's actually really good news. It's not just a movie, nice bow on in the from now on. Because Jesus constantly invites us into from now on conversations. There's a famous story of a conversation between Jesus and a woman recorded in John chapter 8, who literally is caught in the midst of her brokenness, exposed in her failures, drugged before him. And listen to what it says in John chapter 8, records this conversation. Jesus returns to the Mount of Olives, but early the next morning he was back again at the temple. A crowd soon gathered, and he sat with Pharisees, and they brought him a woman who'd been caught in the act of adultery. They put her in front of the crowd. Teacher, they said to Jesus, this woman was caught in the act of adultery. The law of Moses says to stone her. What do you say? They were trying to trap him, saying something that they could use against him. But Jesus stooped down and began to write in the dust with his finger. They kept demanding an answer, so he stood up again and said, all right, but let the one who has never sinned throw the first stone. And then he stooped down and again began writing in the dust. And when the accusers heard this, they slipped away, one by one, beginning with the oldest, until only Jesus was left in the middle of the crowd with the woman. Then Jesus stood up again and said to the woman, where are your accusers? Didn't even one of them condemn you? No, Lord, she said. Then Jesus said, then neither do I. Go and sin no more. What Jesus says to her is, this doesn't define you from now on. He looks at her and he says, the thing is, this isn't who you are. He looks at her and he says, I don't see a small person who's been laughed at. He looks at you and says, I don't see a little person who's been ridiculed. I see a general who needs to be saluted. And Jesus doesn't just break it off there and say, hey, stop it. In another conversation, Jesus reaches in and he actually deals with Phineas's heart issue. Because Jesus, he's out and he's walking around and he meets another woman. And he has a conversation in John chapter 4. I want you to just read this with me. Because most of us, when we encounter Jesus or we have this moment, we think and we say, hey, yes, Jesus, here I am. And he says, fine, knock it off. Don't do it anymore. And that is not the end of the conversation with Jesus. We see something very different. In John chapter 4, starting in verse 5, we see the rest of a conversation. Eventually, Jesus came to the Samaritan village of Sychar, near the field that Jacob gave to his son Joseph. Jacob's well was there, and Jesus, tired from a long walk, sat wearily beside the well about noontime. Soon a Samaritan woman came to draw water, and Jesus said to her, please give me a drink. He was alone at the time because his disciples had gone into the village to buy some food. The woman was surprised, for Jews refused to have anything to do with Samaritans. So she said to Jesus, you are a Jew, and I'm a Samaritan woman. Why are you asking me for a drink? And Jesus replied, if you only knew the gift God has for you and who you are speaking to me, you would ask me and I would give you living water. But sir, you don't have a rope or a bucket, she said. And this well is very deep. Where would you get this living water? And besides, do you think you are greater than our ancestor Jacob, who gave us this well? How can you offer better water than he and his son and his animals enjoyed? And Jesus replied, anyone who drinks this water will soon become thirsty again. But those who drink the water I will give them will never be thirsty again. It becomes a fresh, bubbling spring within them, giving them eternal life. We started this whole conversation talking about Jesus wanting to give us a rich and fulfilling life. Can I ask you, when you watch the movie, when you hear me reading about this thirst that this woman had and Jesus promising to give her something that would let her never be thirsty again, my question to you is, what is it you are thirsty for? What is that thing that drives you? And have you ever decided, Jesus, I will let you quench that thirst. I understand that I really want validation. I want to be seen. There's a part of me that's just a little kid in the back corner going, pick me, pick me, pick me. Do you see me, Dad? Do you see me, Mom? Pick me. And Jesus wants to look at you and said, I have things to give you know nothing about. So can we just take a minute? Can we just all bow our heads and close our eyes for just a moment? And if you're here today and you would say, Pastor, I have never raised my hand and said, Jesus, pick me. I'm here. I need you. I need to be seen by you. I need to be loved by you. Pick me. If you've never chosen to follow Jesus and you feel him tugging at you and you're like, we just watched a crazy movie, but you're like, I feel God tugging me, and you need to say yes to Jesus, I want to pray with you, but I have to know to pray with you. So if you're like, I need you to pray that with me, Pastor, on the count of 3, I just want you to slip up your hand so I can pray for you. No one's going to look around, and we're just kind of all having our own little moment with God here. If that's you and you need me to pray, 1, 2, 3. You need to say yes to Jesus today. Is there anyone? Is there anyone? Okay, everybody, let's pray this together nice and loud. Say, Heavenly Father, thank you for Jesus. Thank you for sending him, that he lived, that he died, and that he rose again for me. Jesus, live in me. Live through me. Be my Lord. Be my Savior. Thank you for loving me, Jesus.